a criticism that we've talked about quite a bit coming from MAGA against Vice President Harris is that she doesn't do enough interviews, and then, she's doing a lot more, but they're not aggressive enough interviews. And then she does one that's 60 Minutes that's too aggressive for even Trump to do. And still, she did bad and stupid. And so then we have to compare, all right? We clearly disagree on that analysis, but let's compare the two candidates. Donald Trump held a town hall. Instead of doing the 60 Minutes interview, he did get interviewed by Laura Ingraham, who notably is a tough interviewer. But interestingly, she did ask some questions or correct him on some things that made him very, very irritated and uncomfortable. So first, on these lies about the Hurricane Helene response, here's this.
And yet they're offering people $750
for immediate needs.
For the worst, but for the worst hurricane that anybody's seen. But she shouldn't be there anyway. She should be, I would say, North Carolina is bad, is so bad. And
she was there today for 3 hours, I believe, Kamala Harris.
And yet they're offering.
So Trump doesn't like that, but it gets much worse. As terrible as Laura Ingraham's work on Fox News is at large, in its entirety, I should say, it was good to see at least there she threw in casually, that $750 talking point is not accurate. And that's just initial amount people get, and they're going to get much more as more relief flows in. Then, actually, Harris has been to North Carolina. And it's this weird thing. Can we not focus on all these political talking points? Can we just focus on the people being impacted, the lives being lost, make sure the response is as perfect as it can be? But instead, everything for MAGA has to be, no, but Harris must be engaging in a conspiracy to undocumented immigrants. I don't know. And so then they say she's terrible because she didn't go to one of the states impacted. Oh, she did. She's terrible because she went, but it was just for political reasons, but the Trump visit wasn't. But just take a breath. Everything doesn't have to be so politicized, MAGA. And then you have Trump being cornered here on if he'd weaponize the government against his political opponents in a second term. And notice how he never directly answers the question.
How will you restore faith in our justice system? A lot of people will say, well, he's just going to do to them what they did to him and get back at them. And
a lot of people say that's what should happen.
Well,
you want to know the truth.
But right. Well, but I think, you know.
Some lady said, "How do you like me now?" How do you like me now? Wow. I'd not like to meet her.
Should happen.
Well,
you want to know the truth.
Right. Well, but I think, punitively.
I'm sorry. I'll play the whole thing in a second. By the way, click the subscribe button if you haven't already. If you enjoy the show, that's an easy, free, simple way to support the work. How do you like me now? What are you talking about? Your guy standing in front of you, that some of you have this strange cult-like dedication to, he got himself into some legal trouble. I'm sure Miss How do you like me now person wouldn't be able to explain, because I've had these conversations with them before at rallies like this one, what it is that evidentially is not backed up in the allegations of Trump's violations of the law. So probably this is just a product of tuning into Fox News too much, but very proud of herself there. Okay, here's the rest of it.
But I think, punitively using government institutions is what got us in this mess in the first place. And our town hall that we did back in February, one of the lines that really resonated, I think, with people is when you said, my revenge is going to be my success.
Yeah, well, I do believe that, but I will say this, they have started a terrible precedent. We've never had this. We do have that in third world countries, banana republics, a lot in South America where they go after somebody politically that's an opponent. We never had it to any great extent, really almost at all.
But you're not going to do that. When you get in office, you're going to look at all your political enemies.
No, I want to make this the most successful country in the world. That's what I want to do.
So he's always attempting to be ambiguous. There he said no, but was he saying no to the premise of her question, or no, he wouldn't do it after resisting answering it directly, after saying, actually, a lot of people think, Laura, that's what we should do. And you can tell he's irritated that she dared to ask that many follow-up questions. And we've now seen, I don't have the clips on me here, but we've gone over them over and over, similar back and forths between Trump and Sean Hannity, where he goes, listen, these crazy liberals, they keep saying that you want to inflict retribution upon people because you said that. It's so weird, right? You say it, they say that's what you said. I mean, that's not fair. They can't quote you like that. And so just for a second here, just promise you won't weaponize your power. You won't break the law in the interest of going after your political opponents. Just really quickly clear that up. And then Trump will go, I'll be a dictator on day one. No, I'm kidding. But he'll do everything not to answer the question directly, which I will say, why? He's such a liar. Why is this the area where he doesn't want to be on the record lying? Couldn't he just say, no, I won't do that, and then do it based on his own moral failings with the truth? But apparently he wants his followers to be hyped about the idea of him going after their political opponents. Then you have this
ravaged area of North Carolina. I think Politico just did a piece about this yesterday. How will you in the Republican Party ensure that all voters in hurricane-hit areas have their votes counted? Because this could be a close election. Yeah. Those votes could matter, and all these mainstream publications are saying this now.
Republican areas got hit very hard. You know that. It got hit very, very hard. I believe, and many people are dead. Many people are dead. They don't even know what it's going to be in terms of the number. They have hundreds are missing. And I can't really speak to it. I can only say that I believe they're going to go out and vote if they have to crawl to a voting booth, and that's what's happening. Laura's working on it. Other people are working on it.
Just a really, really bizarre answer. The question from Laura Ingraham is for those voters who've been impacted by the hurricane, and the wreckage that's left behind could make it more difficult for some of them to vote. How will you ensure that they can vote? And this phenomenon is what is leading people like Marjorie Taylor Greene to say, the government is making hurricanes and controlling the weather to prevent Republicans from voting. In reality, this tragedy happened, and all of us, red, blue, in between, should want people to have access to the ballot box. And so figuring out ways more comprehensively than Trump was able to explain, crawling to the ballot box, what the heck? We should all be wanting to figure out how to make sure those who are impacted can still have access to voting in this election. Then this.
Who's last on the list?
Who would have been? I mean, do you think?
Well, I don't want to say because I'm not looking to build up somebody, but they had about 12 people, and she was the 13th, and 12 were better. All 12.
But do you think they made a mistake? I mean, do you think they made a political mistake?
Talking about Vice President Harris.
Well, I'll tell you on November 6th. I can't tell you. I mean, she's not doing very well right now. We're going up, and you see that. We're leading in most of the polls and all. But we were up by 21 points. We were really beating. We had the debate with Biden, and after that, we had this, I think, insurmountable lead. Then I had to do it all over again. Think of this. You're like in a fighter. You're a fighter. And they come out, and the fighter's getting beaten badly, and they say, we'll take that fighter out. We'll give you a new fighter now. That's what happened to me. This can only happen to me. But we're doing well now.
The lawfare that continues to...
And then a abrupt cut there, clearly trying to prevent people from seeing the full extent of his ramblings about how he feels so wronged by the fact that Vice President Harris is the nominee, which I don't think he understands. It's not like a fight. It's not like a fight or a fighter who's being beaten up, so then they switch that person out with another one so that they're more fresh, and then the Trump in this scenario has to then beat a second person in one fight. It's not like that, because the nomination process, while the votes had been cast, the actual delegates had not secured a nominee. And so while pretty unlikely and not common, Biden was within his right to reject the nomination, and then Kamala Harris was within hers to win over the votes of the delegates. And so in a technical sense, the true fight if you want to put it in those terms, hadn't begun yet. But Trump tells us so much about how he thinks about politics when he sees it as just beating down your opponent, such that if any other opponent were switched out with that one, you'd have to start all over, because Trump has to create this layered cake of lies to characterize his political opponents instead of just running on a platform that wouldn't really change too much based on the individual you're running against, because you have things that you're for and not just against. Then this. Deal with it.
Well, what's happened is it's been totally discredited. The biggest case was in Florida. We won the case in its entirety. We're leading in most of the other cases, and a couple of them are just really bad judges that are, Democrats.
Can someone explain to me, other than his brain just being used to saying we're leading in all the polls when he's not, why you would describe your legal cases as cases you're leading in? How do you lead in a case, in a criminal prosecution? We're leading in all the polls about the cases. I don't know what he's talking about. Then finally this.
Saying, oh, who is he? And that are good people. They have to go past tests. So I say to people, and I'm not ashamed of that. I saw a couple of wise guys on the left saying, oh, who is he? I want to protect women. I'm going to protect women, and I'm going to protect men, and I'm going to protect children. And that's my obligation to do it with the military and with law enforcement.
100 years from now.
Gosh, some abrupt cuts there. And this was connected to, I meant to play for you the full context, but I guess I do not have it pulled up. Here we go. Yeah, this is his message to women.
There who, maybe don't like this tweet or this joke or this nickname. Tonight, what do you say to them about the safety of our homeland?
I say to the women, and I think I do very well with the women, actually. I think it's a lot of fake polling. I think I do very well because I say, I will keep you safe. I'm not going to allow prisoners to come out from Venezuela and many other countries all over the world, the Congo, the Middle East. They come out from the Congo in tremendous numbers. They're coming out of the Middle East, Yemen, and lots of countries that aren't particularly friendly to us. I am going to keep...
Oh, gosh, the same exact things. Okay, so I will say we've heard all that from Trump. If you want to be safe physically, then the policies that we're currently seeing implemented that are causing crime to plummet so fast, that keeps us safer, so that's good. And maybe we don't switch out the current party in power with a party in power in Trump that oversaw this massive spike in crime when he was president. And then how insulting from Laura Ingraham, and I'm so sick of people doing this, where she goes, what do you say to women who are put off by the mean tweets, by the nicknames, but want to feel safe? Again, on the policy of physical safety, of crime, of public safety, etc., you're still wrong, Laura. But also, if you're reducing the criticisms of Trump, even if we're just talking particularly from female voters, to he has mean tweets, you're completely missing the discussion. His mean tweets are the least of our worries whenever he tried to block the peaceful transfer of power last time he was president. The least of our worries whenever he's responsible for the overturning of Roe v. Wade. The least of our worries when he's making promises like the one he refused to denounce in this interview about going after his political opponents. When his economic record, despite the nonsense that is pushed out on Fox News, is one of initially nothing, really, no economic achievements other than inheriting what Obama gave to him, and then a total economic crisis he mismanaged. And we can just go on and on. His outsourcing record, again, like I said, his crime record, his individual character as shown by him being found liable for sexual abuse and all these different things. There's a lot more than his mean tweets, Laura. Find it insulting that's how she characterizes it. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Support the show by clicking the join button below.